Hi, I'm Alice Larson Scott, and I had the privilege of directing Between Two Worlds, the musical. I also co-wrote it with Justin Rizzo and Jon Rizzo. I did not write any songs, nor did I learn any of the lyrics the whole show. My favorite scene to block was probably saying goodbye. I had Daniel and Lydia, and it was a really emotional moment and lots of confusion about what was going on, what was being asked. I love that when Lydia enters the scene and he says, "What are you wearing?" And she tugs at her clothing, and it's almost to hide herself. It was this moment of realization of this is not our home anymore. This is not our safe place anymore to be together. And his goodbye to her was just so beautiful. It was real because it was so vulnerable. He was confused and yet trying to obey and be obedient in the moment, but yet be vulnerable with her. So that was probably one of my favorite scenes to block. So I had the amazing privilege of directing Between Two Worlds on stage and on film. And the script took a much needed revamp in order to bring it to film. I knew that it was going to be a lot more up close and personal. I knew that it was going to be a lot more in your face. The actors, the choreography, the story just had to be so much more relatable. And that was going to come through relationships. We were able to, as an audience, sit in a moment when Daniel was joyful, and we were able to be in that moment when he was in love. I wanted the audience to feel the nervousness that he felt and to experience, being bullied or being misunderstood. And we were able to sit with him in his sorrow too, in different things of disappointment or loss or rejection or confusion. And I think that we can sit with him in those moments and have empathy and relatability to this character. He didn't just wake up one day and have this incredible walk of faith. He didn't just wake up one day and have this prayer life that was amazing. There was a growth journey in there. And to show his journey, it helps us as believers feel like we can make it too. Probably one of my favorite parts of directing Between Two Worlds was having this cast that was sold. They were bought in the moment I yelled action. The moment I said action, they are in a classroom. They are in a courtyard. They are two girlfriends talking about, they're the boys. I love that scene so much. The Love Will Grow song and that dialogue right before Lydia and Meshach are sitting there having this total girl moment where they're just talking about boys because they're so real. And then you bring this gorgeous song that actually we go from this surfacey talk to really the deep desires of their heart. And it's so precious. And because that's what, most girls talk about. We talk about being in love someday and how we want to be swept off our feet and we want to have this security in our future. And so finding those moments with a camera, it was a challenge sometimes, but it was incredibly rewarding. One of my favorite moments on set was the saying goodbye scene. It was this beautifully intense moment, and I love comedy. I personally lean on comedy when there is a really stressful situation or moment happening. I think that the audience sometimes needs to laugh, to have a breath, and Jon Rizzo brought that moment in his character of Mordecai. He is nothing like that character, but I love what he brought to that scene. It's so tiny, so minute, but it is wonderfully needed, and it makes the audience just go, oh my gosh, that was really funny. But we also get to breathe and kind of take in what just happened. One of my favorite scenes though is Meet the Queen. I love Jewel Perry as Queen Nebuchadnezzar. You put all the elements together, this gorgeous set of, oh my gosh, this gorgeous set of the courtyard in King's Academy. You've got all these students. The culmination of that scene is my dream come true in a film. It is the choreography, the way Jewel delivers the song, the way Jon Rizzo plays Mordecai and is her hands and feet in that song, and the relationship that you see between the two of them in that scene. It is by far my favorite scene in the entire show. So pretty much after From Patmos wrapped, Justin and I's last movie, we immediately started working on Between Two Worlds. We learned a lot in From Patmos, and one of those things was we wanted to secure our production team before anything started. Everything was going really smoothly. Come March, pretty much when production meetings needed to start, our technical director got a new job and he was unable to commit anymore to the show. When he had to leave the show, I was left with no technical director. Now notice that I'm saying technical director because that is a theater term. So I wanted to make sure that I educated myself before I went on the hunt for the exact job that I was needing to fill. I called up a friend from Jackson, Mississippi who worked in the film industry, and I said, hey, what is this in the film industry? And he goes, oh, that's a production designer. I said, awesome, thanks for educating me. By the way, do you know any production designers who might be available just trying to figure this thing out? And any help would be appreciated. And he said, he never skipped a beat. He just said, Parker Beck. You need Parker Beck's number. And I said, Parker Beck, great name, give me your number. Little did I know, he had messaged her before I called her and said, hey Parker, you have a heart of gold. This is a really great person in my life. I would love for the two of you guys to meet. I think y'all can make something beautiful together. And little did I know, she signed onto the project right then before I called her. I called Parker and we ended up talking for 2 hours. Little did I know that 2-hour conversation was gonna be a weekly and has become a daily thing. We've just become such close friends, and I am so thankful that she's in my life. Parker Beck brought a level of, I just kept saying, Parker, you raised the bar. I will never be able to express to her in words without being so gushy about everything she did for me in this production. She took everything off of me and freed me up to just be a director. It was incredibly freeing, and it was so creatively liberating to be able to focus just on acting and on actors. The other thing that she did was elevated all of my vision. I would give her a vision of, hey, I would just like a courtyard or a classroom or something. And Parker took it to the next level. I just had never worked with a person who was so creative and so gifted, because that's who she is. She cares about the details, and she cared about the details in every single scene. It just elevated everything. She elevated everything. I told her on a text message one time, I just said, thank you for taking my vision and making it so much better than I ever could have expected or dreamed. I'm glad she's in our life, and I hope she never leaves.